Good evening. Welcome to the Toon Review. We've had a couple of nights off. We're back now with a futuristic look at what our squad may look like next season. I'm joined by Stato. Paul is trying to get on his internet, giving him some jip. Hopefully, he'll be able to get himself on sooner rather than later. How are you, Stato?
Not too bad. Intrigued by all the prep I've done for this show. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Nobody's really done a decent breakdown of it. No disrespect to any of the TV networks or anything, but it's nice to see it all down on paper as a proper planner. So we will go through everything tonight.
Yeah, of course, if you are new to the channel and you haven't seen this before and this is your first time, hit that subscribe button. It really helps out. We're on the road to 28,000 subscribers at the minute. It's a fantastic community to belong to. Paid subscriptions are called memberships. You can become a member by clicking the join button. And also, at the same time, super chats are also available by clicking the $sign beneath us and with the chat there. That'd be fantastic too. And also hit that thumbs up, give us a like, because it really does help us out in the search results on YouTube to indicate us to not like-minded fans. So that's all that out of the way. Kind of news, any news this week? There's not been a lot of news, actually. The only positive stuff or any news I've seen is the Joe Linton contract talks. He seems pretty positive about things, Sato.
Yeah, that was really, really nice. He said some positive things. So he said, yeah, of course I want to stay. I feel at home here. My family feels at home. My son has friends here and I love the city. There have been talks. There's nothing close yet, but there's been conversations and it's a good start. So he's actually spoken about it, which is good because some just like to decline that. They just don't talk. And it sounded relatively positive. So
good news. So if there's a deal to be done, I'm sure it will be done. And I guess just looking at the squad, there'll be players leaving the club that may be able to up his wages substantially, I guess. So we'll get into that as we go on. We'll do some comments and see what's in the chat. So then George said, this is a chat that I've been looking forward to. Yes, it's one that hasn't been done yet, has it? And of course, the Toon Review. First off the match again. Good evening to you, John. Hope you're well. Peter Griffin, hopefully Dan Bird is not starting left back next season. Well, we shall have a look at things, see how things look. Good evening to Paul Mann and James Pope and the Parkmeister and Chippers. So they're all here, as is Tom and the Wolf-Eyed Benition and John Sorby. He says, just seen the merch, loving the cup. Think I need one in my life. Well, the online store is available. The description is in the description below the link, so you can get into that. We have a £5 super chat already from Peter McCardle. Have to be ruthless. Deadwood has to go. Mamadashvili, Ignacio, Sesko, Due would do for me. Well, that's of course recruitment.
Not a lot then.
Yeah, that cost you a fair few, Bob, I imagine. Good evening to Bob Black. Hope you're well. Chipper said he went and watched Blythe Spartans last night. It was Bruce Ball 2.2. Yeah, non-league. I guess it's allowed to be. A papal visit, yes, from James, or 1920s Arsenal, like on Harry Enfield. That was a funny sketch. Have you ever seen that, Stato?
I haven't, no. Well, I've seen Harry Enfield, but I've not seen whatever that is.
When he does the old black and white stuff, goes back and Mr. Chumberley Warner. Well, what he gets is he gets Arsenal of the 1930s against Liverpool of the 1990s, and the Arsenal team's in black and white and all in baggy shorts, and the Liverpool team are all in. Oh, it's hilarious! Absolutely, all the Arsenal team are smoking. It's absolutely fantastic, funny. Yes, definitely recommend that. Fupper Pickle, even to you. Jackie Nicholson, even to you. Cushy, Lawrence, also. Billy Bob, Fuggy Crack, even to you lot. Greg Wheeler. Mike Elliott says, we are definitely needed a holding midfielder and a striker. There are two areas we need to strengthen for him. We should have a look at that in a minute. Pete says, all of our players whose contracts by the end of the season will definitely not be here next season. You say that. Maybe there will be. Maybe there'll be an extension for one or two of them. But, I mean, the players
again.
We shall have a look. Yeah. Southern Geordie says CDM, right winger, and striker are the main three. Well, when we look at the squad, you'll see another position which is severely lacking. The Wolf-Eyed Benition said we would have from current registered Premier League squad, if no contract offered, a squad would have 21 players, 25 can be registered. 2 goalies, 2 left backs, 2 right backs, 2 centre backs, 7 midfielders, 2 right wingers, 2 centre forwards, 2 left wingers, and 9 under 21 players. What's a GF? I guess it means goalkeeper. 1 left back, 1 centre back, 4 midfielders, 1 right winger, 1 left midfielder. So that's a detailed post there. Mick says, good evening to you. Jan says, all over 30 players to go will do for me, plus Miggy and Lascelles.
Well, I mean, they're They will be over 30, won't they? Well, actually, I think, is Mickey 30 yet? Still 29, just about.
Something like that. It's not far off it, though, is he? If he may have just turned it.
I think Lascelles is 30.
Evening to you. Hi, Ryan. Hope you're well. Ian Fleming, Barry the B, Peel O'Keefe, Niall Powell, Tom Verleman. Mason's also here. Alan Bredmore. Lots of people in the chat. Fantastic to see. Sophia's here too. Good evening to you. Trouser Face, very interesting name. Ian A, Peter Birdfield, Craig Tippins. He says, already like this stream. I know it before it starts. It's going to be a good one. Well, we shall try and make sure that is true. Spike, good evening to you, my friend. Who else we got? Predator, evening to you. Tomlin says, Paul's Custore Internet. Well, they are doing work in the street outside, so that's all good. That's all good. And hopefully it will work out good for him. Pazman, good evening to you. Nicky Milliken. Lots and lots of people in chat. Well, let's get into the crux of the actual thing. Liam Rainer says, I wonder if we have scouts at AFCON. There were some real talents playing throughout the tournament. Have you watched much of the AFCON tournament, Stato?
A little bit, yeah.
I've not watched a lot of it. I've watched a bit
Bits and bobs. Bit of the Asian Cup, bit of the AFCON. Bit of everything, really. The AFCON's been really entertaining. I absolutely love it because it's a mishmash of extremely high quality with extremely low quality. Like mostly in the same squad as well. It is funny. I love it. It's funny, but it's also a great place to look at really, really exciting talents. You know, you often get very powerful, explosive players. I mean, it's just great. That's why we've got Yankuba Minteh in the squad. It is very exciting. And
it's interesting this year, I should say, because it's not the usual suspects. I mean, Cape Verde and teams like that that haven't really been kind of high up.
Asian Cup and AFCON, you've got unexpected results, so it's very interesting.
And currently, it's Nigeria 1 and South Africa 1 in extra time. I think that's a semi-final, isn't it, tonight? So there's one tomorrow I'm looking forward to, Ivory Coast against, can't remember who it is, but it'll be a good game because Ivory Coast, they seem to attract good games to them. The Ivory Coast Senegal game was a fantastic game. Anyway, let's look at what we've got here then. So Stato's got a detailed kind of précis of what we've got in our squad and what's about to go. If you want to put that up, Stato, shall I do it? Get it up there now?
Yeah, you can pop it up.
Let's have a look, see what we've got here then. So this is the squad as currently. Do you want to go through it, mate?
So this is what it's going to end up looking like next year.
Yeah.
So on paper, we've got 4 goalkeepers. Karius and Gillespie, contracts expiring. So then we're down to 2. I think it's worth pointing out as well that all 4 of these goalkeepers are all over 30. Personally, I hate that. I think, again, it's. I've said this before. What kind of message does that send to some of the younger players in the youth setup, or just any other players for that matter? If you've got 4 30-year-old goalkeepers, over 30, I feel like definitely if you've got 4, one of them surely's got to be a younger one. You'd imagine. So that needs to change. I think it will. Fine. I understand that a lot of people like Mark Gillespie. He's been important to the club behind the scenes. Personally, I think we have too many cheerleaders that get paid a lot of money. So I don't know the bloke. I'm sure he's a lovely guy. I'm sure he hates me for saying things like that. But, we want to see the club do well. And with the new rules in regards to wage to revenue, it's important. And if he's on a rumoured £10,000 a week, Karius as well, I'd rather have one of the young lads in there on the bench or just in the match day squad sometimes. So there's those 2 that are going to go. You've obviously got club captain Jamal Lascelles. Widely reported he's going to be disappearing to Turkey or elsewhere. Paul Dummett as well. We have already given him a 1-year extension, and this is that extension. Fine, he's played a couple of games for us this year and he's done quite well, but I would be shocked if it gets extended again. Kraft as well, possibly a little bit unlucky if he disappears. However, depth-wise, we'll have Trippier, Livramento, and the returning Harrison Ashby, which would be 3 right-backs.
Yep.
Is it needed? Possibly not. So that is, what's that, 2, 4, 5. We've got another one down here somewhere. If we keep scrolling, we've got Matt Ritchie as well. I feel like a little bit harsh to say glorified cheerleader because I think he does a lot. I think he's more of a coaching role now. I think he's a mentor for a lot of the players in the squad. I think he's an important person to have around. However, again, how many of these can we afford, really? Change his contract, put him in the coaching setup if that's the case. But that's 6. So that's 6 expiring contracts. So if it ends like that, those 6 will be gone. Players on loan this season. So Minteh, Jamal Lewis, Isaac Hayden, Ryan Fraser, Harrison Ashby, Garang Kuol, Kel Watts, and Jeff Hendrick. I think Kel Watts' contract might also be expiring. I need to double check that. So Hendrick's not really much of an issue here because he's going to disappear anyway. However, the rest of them, we've got to consider what's going to happen. Are they going to come back and be involved in the setup? Are they going to come back and go straight back on loan? Are they going to come back and be sold? I think we can all kind of guess that people like Fraser we're going to try and get rid of. I mean, you mentioned to me just before we started that he's doing quite well at Southampton. Hopefully they fall for it, and then he spends a year there and then messes them up as well. So we could do with getting some of these off the books for sure. Any thoughts on those expiring? Would you retain any? Maybe Kraft being the outside shout, I guess, a bit harsh to let him go. But again, a lot of people in the chat saying we've got to be ruthless in this kind of setup.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Harrison Ashby's done this season. I know he looked naive in pre-season. I wouldn't be averse to giving Kraft another year and maybe loaning Ashby out for another season. See how he does. Mason's a short Swansea fan. Give us a shout, Mason. How's he been getting on? Because I'm not seeing much of him. Maybe he's got a few stats we can look at there.
So Harrison Ashby, I've heard a lot that he's not doing very well, although I've not watched him at all. Yeah, I'm not including Joe White because, well, he's only just come back, hasn't he? And he's a returning loan. He's kind of in that middle ground where he's just come back off loan. Fine, fair enough. Joe White, I maybe need to put somewhere on a list. Yeah, so Harrison Ashby, anyway, 800 minutes, 13 appearances in the Championship. Interesting data. Again, struggling, but defensive metrics are really good. I can't really comment too much because I've not really seen him play.
No.
So it's a tricky one. We'll have to wait and see as he develops. And he's not as young as some people think either. A lot of people think he's a teenager. He's not. He's 22. So he's not he's not super young. You'd expect him to be nearly competent or getting there. Yeah,
I mean, I think it's and or with him and Kraft. Would they have him as a third choice right back? Potentially, I guess there's potential there for him to come back and Kraft to leave, but I think we'd be a lot safer with Kraft as a third choice, and he can cover centre back as well, can't he? So I wouldn't be averse to giving Emil Kraft another year, if I'm perfectly honest.
Well, Andy's played centre half for us. He's versatile. He'll play where you tell him. He'll listen. He knows us. But again, I feel really bad. Kind of. I know a lot of people saying they can't see him playing. Everybody see it. You've all just seen that 22-year-old stat and just gone, I know that's exactly what I thought as soon as I saw it, but you've got to give players chances. It just might be the case if he's in the wrong place at the wrong time, doesn't suit his style. Oh, he was born in McDonald's. Okay, no, get rid of him then.
Born where?
Milton Keynes. Milk and beans. We'll see what he's like when we get him back. You never know. He might need a loan to a different club or however. It doesn't look great, does it?
No, it doesn't. So there you go. That's the ones on loan. Of those, Hendrick's gone. Kel Watts potentially. Garang Kuol is an interesting one. He's not impressed on either of his loan stints, whether it would be in the Scottish Premier or in Holland by the sound of things.
Yeah, he's not really played a lot.
So, I mean...
If he comes up. Oh, if I can spell him right, that would be good, wouldn't it? How do we spell his name? Cool. There he is. Volendam. So, 667 minutes, 1 goal, 1 assist. I did today while I was at work, although I was working very hard in case my boss is watching. I do apologise. I had a quick look on my lunch break. A lot of recent appearances have been off the bench. They're playing a system that doesn't really suit him. I don't know if I can get on SofaScore while I've got my VPN on. Yes, I can. Yeah, consent, fine, whatever. Volen. I will show you guys what I mean. I feel like he's being hard done by slightly. So this is their most recent game against Utrecht. So they played a 5-3-2. So where would Kuol go on this pitch? Yeah, he's like an explosive right winger / winger where he doesn't want to play wing back. This midfield three, depending on how they're going to play on the ball, is he going to play as one of the forwards? I don't know. And then if we look at the next game, same formation. Next game, They've gone with a 3-5-1-1. What is he playing as a wing back? Like, if from what I can see, they're on a torrid run of form. They're in the relegation zone. They don't seem to play any sort of system that I would want to start him in. I kind of get why he's not playing. If there's anybody that watches the Dutch league, I mean, let us know if anybody's watched some of it, or just let us know, because I personally I've not watched it, but just looking at this makes me think, well, we're just not. I don't know. Schroeder's got some splaining to do, in my opinion. Because
what about the early season performances? Did they have a different system when he was playing? Is there any way you can find that out?
Oh God, look at the red cards. Right. So when did the season kick off? I mean, that'll do, won't it? PSV. I mean, you're not going to beat PSV. They're a great side. We got Bella Koch up in there. So they went with a 5-4-1, and he started on the left in a 5-4-1. He got a 5.8. Again, against Bakayoko, one of the strongest teams in the league. You're asking a lot of him there.
Yeah.
That's tough for him.
So I wonder if that was his last game at 5.8.
No, he started in there you go, a 4-3-3. Funnily enough, he's got a slightly better rating.
Yeah.
So he did get subbed off, but in that game, heat map's not terrible. What did he get? He got an assist, a shot on target, a couple of dribbles, chance missed. A little bit better. Again, I think a lot of it might be down to system. For people who watch stuff in the Netherlands, let me know if I'm chatting absolute nonsense. But it looks like he's just in a struggling side, possibly the wrong system for him. Maybe it's not Schroeder's fault. Maybe all signs pointed to he would be useful for them this season. Doesn't look like it's worked at all. So
maybe there's been a change of manager. You don't know, do you? You don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe there's been a change of manager with them being so low in the league, and the owners or whoever runs the club have decided to part company, and a different managers come in with different thoughts and ways of playing, I guess. So then we go to Ryan Fraser. Southampton, yes, I think they will buy him. I think he's played well for them from what I've seen. And I think
I don't want to type him in.
He'll be ideal as someone that comes up as a newly promoted side, I think. I think they'll be keen to sign him. And he's had quite a good season as far as what I've seen anyway.
So he's going to hit 30, though. So end of this year, he will be 30. And he will have 1 year left on his contract.
Yep.
5 goals, 2 assists from 1,000 minutes in the Championship. And he's profiling really well. He's playing for his contract, as he's done for other clubs before.
Yeah.
He's profiling really well as well. He's got Steven Bergwijn on this list at Ajax. Andreas Skov Olsen at Club Bruges as well. Yeah, I mean, hopefully this convinces them to drop a couple of mil on him, and we can at least get a transfer fee and get his wages off the books.
Yeah, because I mean the wages aren't excessive for.
I mean they are. They are for somebody who hasn't played for us for 2 years.
Well, for him they are, but I mean for Southampton coming up, who are probably going to use him, maybe not. I mean they could probably offer him 60k a week or 50k a week, and he'll be happy with that, I guess.
Well, Kenny's just said Southampton can't afford him. I mean, it depends what he asks for.
If they get promoted, I think they'll be able to afford him.
I think he needs to understand what level he's at as well now.
They've sold some players, well, haven't they, Southampton? So they've had to. So this is the actual squad.
Oh, I didn't mean to click on that yet. Nobody's seen that. We'll go back to it.
So Isaac Hayden is currently at. Where did he go to? I can't remember.
He's gone QPR. He's only just gone though, so we've not really got any data for him.
Yeah, but his contract is kind of long, isn't it? He's is it 28? His contract.
Well, when we scroll down, we'll see that bit.
Yeah, and Jamal Lewis currently at Watford, is he?
He's at Watford. Jamal Lewis. Yeah, he's doing all right. Jamal Lewis is here.
I don't know how Watford are getting on this year. I don't know whether they're in the league or anything, but
this is somebody again that I think will be assessed when he returns, because he's a left-footed 26-year-old.
Yeah.
Again, I think we've definitely outgrown him, but he's not a terrible player. He was used in pre-season. He's not on super high money, but it's on a fair bit. And then if we scroll down, he's not putting up terrible numbers. I would have liked to have seen him with higher progressive metrics.
Yeah.
Considering what he used to do when he was younger, how much he went for. He was linked with Liverpool before he went to us. We did pay quite a lot of money for him at the time. Especially in the Championship this year, I was hoping to see a bit more ball, a bit more offensive data from him, but still really solid. 1,600 minutes, and he's got Max Aarons, his old mate from Norwich, there as well. Is it Bournemouth? And yeah, it just wasn't quite a career to date as what we expected from him, is it? Sort of Norwich to us.
Injuries
Anyway.
have crippled him, haven't they? It's the injury thing, and I think we saw the best of him at Everton away. Graham Jones's first game, where we were a bit more progressive and he got involved with the attacking. But I mean,
I think that's wrong. His contract at Watford expires in June 2025. His contract with us expires later than that. I'm pretty sure 26 or 27. I don't think that's right. We'll see it when we scroll down. Anyway, it's fine.
Well, so that's Jamal Lewis. Would you want to keep him? Would you want to, or just see how he is?
Well, at left back, we'll have Burn, Target, Lewis Hall. So doesn't look likely.
No, probably not. Okay, back to the list. Then who else we got on there next? Then Yankuba, Minteh. This is the one I think we may see in the squad. He's had a fantastic season in Holland in Eredivisie. He looked pretty good in the AFCON, to be honest. Well, I've seen of him. What do his stats
Still haven't got a picture for him. That's outrageous. Come on, Stats Bomb, sort it out. Stats Bomb, FB, ref even, same thing. So we loaned him to Feyenoord. So Schola may have got this one right. 3 goals and 2 assists in the Eredivisie from only 600 minutes, which is really good. He's had a bit of a funny time. I think the manager's fallen out with him a couple of times because he just doesn't listen and just runs with the ball and just does things very much like a terrier. But there's no doubt in his quality and his talent. He's just insane. When he's gone, he's gone. You ain't taking the ball off him. You ain't catching him. He is crazy fast and explosive. He's just very raw at the moment, and they have been a little bit frustrated with him. But he's doing well. Again, he's 4.2 xG, so he should have done better because he's young. He's messing up some chances, but he gets in a lot of great positions. With 200 minutes in the Champions League, good experience, and he scored in the Champions League as well. So that's great experience for him. If we have a look at the main data, I know. So a few people just said he can't pass. I mean, I can't really disagree with you there. 1 progressive pass per game, 1.6, which is in the bottom first percentile. His pass completion rate is rather poor. I think you guys need to be, well, I say you guys, that's a bit rude. Some of you need to maybe temper your expectations, because I know a lot of people were frustrated with Maxi when he wouldn't pass the ball. We do currently have Minteh and Sanusi in the academy that are both very similar in the sense that if they want to go on a run, they're going to go on a run. It's just the type of player. It's that kind of flair player that exists. And I think some people are just going to have to kind of get used to that. If we're going to have them in the squad, it's just something that they do. Is it frustrating sometimes? Absolutely, yeah. But we bought him, so what are we going to do? However, I think the rest of this data kind of makes up for that. It's absolutely bonkers. Is there anything that's not 99th percentile there? A few things. That's mad. I mean, it's absolutely mad. It's only based on 619 minutes. So take this with a massive pinch of salt. But that is pretty nuts. That's amazing. Very, very nutty.
Yeah, they're amazing.
He's creating nearly 7 shots for his teammates per game. He's pinging off 3.5 shots himself per game. He's also progressively carrying the ball 9 times per game. He's taken on players nearly 5 times per game and getting past them. His tackle metrics are through the roof at 3.2 tackles per 90. His aerials one is insane. Like, that's mental. How tall is he? It doesn't say. He can't be that tall. That's a really good aerial win rate for a little tiny
winger,
explosive winger. Like, that's crazy. This guy's going to be special. I'm so excited to see him back. It's going to be,
and of course, really as he gets older, obviously he becomes more mature, and he sees passes better, and he obviously we're going to train him, and he'll improve with his passing. That's the one thing he needs to improve. But I see us having him back next season. I see us putting him on the bench as a wild card. So I really do. If we need someone to come on and try and change the game, someone that no one knows much about, chuck him on, see what he does. If we're 2 goals behind or whatever, just see what he does. Nothing to lose. Yeah. So of those, then I think Minteh and Ashby potentially are the 2 that we can expect to come back.
I'm not sure Watts is going to get a look in. Obviously, Hendrick's gone.
Yeah, I mean, Watts never had a look in, really, has he? He's always been on loan. He'll probably get a testimonial without playing for us. He seems to be on loan for years and years and years, isn't he, at lower league clubs? So clearly not progressing. So, yeah, there's no much future for Newcastle United and Carl Watts, I wouldn't have thought. So these contracts expiring, this is the money that they're on, isn't it? So,
well, this is according to Capology, which supply the salary data for FBref. So take this with a pinch of salt as well. It might not be bang on. I think it's an educated guess based on what gets reported. Because they do have to report finances. So we'll see. So it's quite a lot. There's quite a lot of wages saved there on expiring contracts. So the two goalkeepers, Karius and Gillespie, you've got Matt Ritchie, Paul Dummett, club captain Lascelles, and Emil Kraft. Kind of crazy that Kraft is on the most money there, considering that Lascelles is the club captain. Don't know how he's managed to swing that.
He's an international, I guess. I guess that's got something to do with it.
Yeah, Swedish international, potentially. But that is a good amount of change to save. Yep. Very, very good amount. Nearly £200,000 in wages saved. Obviously, there won't be any transfer fee for them. I don't know if there's any amortization left to pay on any of these players. I don't think there would be. I think we would have already paid off Kraft's transfer fee. Lascelles has been with us for a long time. Dummett's academy. Yeah, I don't think there would be any amortization to changes to this.
Remember, Mike actually dealt in paying up front, didn't he, for all the players he bought? So hence why he didn't sign many. That would be off the books. And Lascelles way past anyway. No, I agree. I think there's no amortization there, so that's all kind of straight in the bank for us, isn't it? We've got a £2 super chat from Dr. House. He says, great content as always, lads. Thank you, mate. Thanks for your very, very generous contribution. Yeah, so that's a lot of money that we could pretend nearly 200 grand a week, which could go into all sorts, can't it? I mean, as I say, we're in wage negotiations with Joe Linton, and maybe other people will be looking for extended contracts and a raise, but that's another story, I guess. What's next on the list, mate?
So a few people saying I missed Hendrick. I didn't. He's in here. So surplus to requirements is the next bit on this list. So the 4 coming back from loan, I think, are probably dead certs to be in this category. There are people that are obviously going to maybe throw Miggy in here. I'm not going to do that because I think the club value him a lot more. I think these are the obvious ones. I think these are the dead certains. And I've put Hendrick in this bit. I don't know why. I just put him in this bit. So you've got Jamal Lewis on a rumoured 38,000 per week, Fraser on 42, Hayden on 22, Hendrick on 35. However, although I do think I might have made a mistake there, is Jamal Lewis? I don't think Jamal Lewis's contract expires in 2025. I'm going to have to double check that because we can't be wrong, can we? That's not cool. So Jamal Lewis is until... Oh, it is 2025. Okay, fine. Fair enough.
So he's got another year to go then.
Past me was correct. So that is another 137,000 per week we could save. However, those top 3 there, we'd have to sell.
Yep.
So it'd be that saved if we could get them off the wage books. So the total of all of that we've just summarised could be this. So total possible wage savings of £332,000 per week, plus any cheeky little transfer fees we could get. If we could get a couple of mil for Fraser, just something to throw in the kitty, as small as it may be, that then gives you a lot more wiggle room.
Yeah. I don't see Lewis getting sold, to be honest, to a championship club on that wage, if I'm perfectly honest. But who knows? Maybe a newly promoted Premiership side will come in for him. You never know. But that's a massive chunk of change to save, isn't it? £1/3 a week. So yes,
the going rate for some of our big ones is what, 100-ish. Like your Tonales and your Isaks that have come in 100, 120 sort of is the number that gets banded around.
Excellent. Right. So what's next on the list then?
So we've gone all football managery.
Have we?
Of course we have. So there we go. So on the pitch view, these are the players that are going to be retained and that will be at the club, that will likely be in sort of match day squads and be the rotations or the first team players. And this is excluding those contracts that were going and the people that are going to disappear. So I've got 22 players on this main screen here of what I think is the logical is the most logical thing that the club are going to do as well. For anybody who's looking at Dan Burn and about to type anything, I know, fine. But I think this is what the club are going to do, which is fine. And this is what it currently looks like. So, do you want to break it down for us, Billy?
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, you've got the first 11 is what is there now, which is obviously Pope, Burn, Botman, Schär, and Trippier. The midfield three, if everyone was fit and not suspended, would be Bruno, Joelinton, and Tonali. And the front three, I guess, would be Gordon, Isak, and Miggy. So that's the first 11, all available to play. Then replacements, you've got two left backs there, Hall and Target, Dubravka in goal, Livramento at right back. None glaringly enough for Botman and Schär, unless you're counting Alex Murphy and Dan Burn as a centre half, which I guess you could. Then there's a four midfield replacements there: Anderson, Willock, Longstaff, and Miley. Willock, of course, can cover the left side as well. And then there's a front three of Barnes, Wilson, and Murphy. So it's a fair squad, but there are glaring holes there, Sato.
Indeed. So a lot of you at the start of the stream said, "Oh, we need a CDM, we need a winger, we need another forward, we need this, we need that." Fine, yeah, absolutely fair enough. I do think we need additions in those areas as well. However, the obvious hole there that I'm sure you can all see is at centre half. If Jamal Lascelles' contract expires, that is a big hole. It's Botman and Schär. Now, there are obviously arguments to be made that Burn can come and cover two positions. Fine. But it's still a massive, massive gap. You've then got our list in the top left of academy players that are kind of around and you would imagine are going to be somewhat part of the setup next year, possibly. So you've got Joe White, who's been recalled from, or he's loan ended at Crewe Alexandra. You've got Ben Parkinson. You've got Travis Hearns, I'm not sure how we meant to exactly say that, who's made a couple of match day squads on the bench. You've got Alfie Harrison, who we've just signed. Alex Murphy, who we've all really enjoyed watching whenever he's played. He's been really, really solid.
Yep.
And Sanusi as well. I would imagine these six possibly would be involved at some point. I don't know what's going to happen with White. We'll see. And then you've obviously got returning players. I've got Watts on here as well. But you've got returning players, so maybe Minteh will be involved as a wide forward winger option next year. And then you've potentially got Ashby to come in as additional right back cover. You've got Alex Murphy if he gets promoted or if he goes on loan, or don't know, but you could have him as an extra option at centre half. But there is still a glaring hole there at right-sided centre half for Fabian Schär. Fabian Schär's ACL goes ping. We are not in a good position centre half wise. So I think the priority based on this graphic right here is buy a right-sided centre half immediately. That has to be purchase number one. Based on this is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, all the centre halves we have, except for Schär, are left-sided ones, aren't they? Which is, it's a massive imbalance there, isn't there? And I guess this is the reason why I'm saying I think we may give Kraft an extra year because of his ability to slot in at that right-sided centre-back role. And maybe send Ashby out on loan for another season.
Well, people saying that Kraft can play centre-half. Yeah, I mean, I guess he can. He did in a cup game. I don't think it's the long-term future of the club, especially we're looking at next year, an additional season into the future. We don't want to be putting, we want to be playing people in their right positions. Fine. When you're rebuilding the squad, it makes sense to a point. When your injury hit, fine. But you don't want to be going into the season as Kraft as your second choice centre half. I personally don't feel like that's right. I think we need to buy an actual centre half.
Do you think that Eddie Howe will purchase a number 6 in the summer because of that 7-man midfield? Not one's a 6, and it's one position where he's never said he thinks we've got 6s. As I've said a few times, he thinks that Bruno, Longstaff, and Tonali can all cover that 6 role. Not a specialist one, though, is there, amongst them? So does he splash out on a 6? I mean, I would personally, but as you know, as often said, he's never said he wanted a 6, and maybe not. I mean, I think we need one personally.
I mean, personally, my favourite midfield would be probably this.
With a 6, yeah.
Would be a brand new shiny 6 who is really, really good with Bruno and Tonali.
Does that then allow Joelinton to be sold?
Potentially. I'd rather he isn't, though, because then you've got Joelinton to come on as a sub for either of those two. or to come on as just anything. I mean, Joe Linton really, as a substitute or as a rotation player, can probably play centre forward, left wing, left-sided 8, right-sided 8. He could just come and plug holes and just be an absolute tank based on the opposition we're playing. I would like this. I'm not sure it's going to happen, so I'm going to ping that off there. And then I'd imagine it's going to be something like this as it was meant to be for the entirety of this season. I think this is what we were meant to be doing.
Yeah.
For people who criticise Longstaff, I think Longstaff was meant to be the backup to Tonali for this year. I don't think he was meant to be playing this much. I think it was meant to kind of look. It was meant to look like this on paper.
Yeah. Lewis Miley would have been anywhere near the squad, would he?
And Lewis Miley, wouldn't have even had a sniff if everybody had have stayed fit. It would have looked like this, with Joe Linton as the starting left 8, with these two as the backup. Tonali is the starting right 8, with Longstaff as the backup. And then Bruno kind of doesn't really have a backup. That would have to be Tonali or Longstaff. And that's it.
Yeah, so we are, even looking this season, we are pretty bare, aren't we? I know we've got other players that we haven't got on that list because they're on our way out or whatever, but yeah, it still looks pretty scarce in that midfield and centre back, and kind of 2 strikers. I don't think it's enough either. So
yeah, well, I mean, it's the same position. It's the reverse of Dan Burn, is it? With Gordon. Gordon, I guess, can play as an extra striker, but you'd prefer. I mean, Gordon and Barnes on the left side is fine. Hopefully, we don't lose either or to a really long injury again next season, and we can retain these two and keep them fit. Whether Miggy and Murphy, the 2 starting right wingers, who knows? Maybe Minteh comes in and maybe gets ahead of the pecking order against certain opposition, and Murphy's the rotation, or maybe Miggy is. Maybe we just buy another one. Who knows? But I do think we could possibly do with the same as Gordon, but on the right. I think we could do with somebody who can play as a wide forward and centrally to just cover. Because I think we all agree that Isak and Wilson have been, as soon as one's back, the other one's injured, and we can never really keep them both fit and rotate them and keep them fresh, which is a shame. I don't know why I just gave Wilson arms. I'm not sure how I did that, but he's now got little arms. We've not really mentioned keeper either. I mean, I still don't like. I don't know why I've given Dubravka number 8. Sorry, Dubs, you're not the midfield answer. I still don't like the idea of having all of our goalkeepers over 30. I want a youth player in there somewhere. Not even a youth. For a goalkeeper, they can be 24, 25, 26, 27, just not 30.
I mean, goalkeepers generally don't reach the peak till 33, 34, but I think we should have a youth goalkeeper there as well. I agree with you. One to kind of learn. I think Dubravka may be offering us some anyway, if I'm perfectly honest. I think
he's still got time remaining on his contract. I think it's 2025. I mean, we can double check, but I'm pretty sure Dubravka. So he's worth €1 million, apparently. Look at that. 41 caps for Slovakia. What beast. 2025, Dubs' contract expires.
Yeah.
I don't think we'd get anything for him. We'd probably have to let him go on a free. We'd have to just give him away, I would imagine. Although he's a great player. If you're a Premier League side sort of in the lower half of the table, or anybody, if you're a team in France or Spain or Italy and just want to, I could see him going to an Italy. This has got kind of a mid-table Italian side written all over it, like an Atalanta or a Frosinone or a Sassuolo. I could see him going to Serie A. I don't know why. It's just, I think he's got the hair for it. He's definitely got the hair for Serie A, hasn't he? He looks like an Italian goalkeeper.
Yeah, without a doubt. I don't think he'd do a good job for someone in Serie A. He's been a good goalkeeper for us, and he's doing fairly well in the past kind of 6 weeks or so. But
he's been really solid.
He's certainly not the answer. So as long as Pope comes back and he can kind of still dive around on that shoulder, unless we sign a really good goalkeeper for Pope to compete with, which could happen, I guess. But I just think there's other areas of the pitch that we can concentrate on first. Although it's an interesting argument, isn't it? I mean, how far does the money spread? That's the question.
Well, I mean, if we can get, the contract's expiring, plus some of the Adidas stuff, you'd like to think we're in a bit of a better position come the summer. So what we've got a few holes to plug in terms of players. You'd imagine we'd have the squad's going to be more than 22. It'd be close to 25, maybe beyond that. I think officially it's like 28 this year, but obviously you've got players who are who are younger that don't count towards the squad total. So what are we thinking in the summer? Maybe one big marquee signing, because we had an Isak, we had a Toon Army. You'd imagine there's going to be one big signing, I would guess. Whether that big signing is going to be a centre-half, a 6, a wide forward, I don't know. Nobody knows. But
No.
you would imagine, just based on what we've had in the last few years, that there's going to be one big purchase. So that'll plug one of those holes. And then what do we do for the other two? I'd imagine we'd just go young. I think the only time we've broken that rule was Barnes, who was kind of ready-made. That was it. Like Chris Wood, I guess, but that was a while ago. That was for a different reason. But since then, during this rebuild, the only time we've gone sort of slightly older has been Barnes, really. And then we signed Target just because we liked his loan. But generally, it's been younger, hasn't it?
Yeah, I agree. And because we probably won't be, well, we won't be in the Champions League next year, we probably have a smaller pool of players to pick from as well. I mean, the quality is not going to be as, the quality of player we looked at last summer. The Toon Army's, who's potentially a world-class midfielder. I know Isak's a potentially world-class striker, but I mean, is the pool that we're looking at smaller than last season? So I think it will be.
I don't know. I still think we'll get most people. I think it'll exclude few. No, not too many. I think you're still looking at, look, players are going to come in and they're going to want to play with Isak, Gordon, Bruno, Toon Army, Botman. They're going to want to play with these high-profile players. There's a track record of getting players called up to their national team. There's a track record of us coaching players to be better. We've got a great atmosphere at the club. It's improving. It's the place to be. It's a good project. It's a really exciting project if you're a player, and it would be a good place to be associated with 100%. So I don't think it'd hurt us too much. I think the players that wouldn't want to come would probably be out of our price range anyway, like your Osimhen's and stuff. So
now, I guess a lot of this is dependent on where we finish in the table this season. I mean, if we don't get European football, how many of those will want to jump ship and play for someone that does play European football? That's the big question we've got to ask ourselves.
Well, I think it is really, really important we do get some kind of European place. I don't think it matters. At this point, the season's been a tough one. I think the league finish is irrelevant now. I don't think it matters. The only thing that matters is just to scrape at least a conference place, because we need our squad to be used to the amount of fixtures. We need to get them used to playing this many games constantly. So I think the minimum is Conference League, just so we can do that.
Yeah,
we don't want a bare bone squad again. We want to be able to rotate, don't we?
Potentially a cup final place as well, and especially if we play someone that's a team that's Champions League qualified, gets us straight into the Europa League anyway. So I mean, the cup run is an important one. But I think we definitely need some kind of European football to keep Bruno. Let's just say Bruno. I think if we don't make Europe, I think he'll be wanting to leave.
That'll be a tough one to replace. I think he's probably he is our best player.
He's our best player, and I think he's underpriced at the release clause. But there's the release clause in there for a reason, and I think that reason is maintenance of European football, if I'm honest. And I'm hoping it's not just Champions League football. I'm hoping that Conference League, will make him stay. But maybe he'll give us another year. I'm hoping so. But I think if we don't make European football, I think he'll be looking for someone. And there'll be plenty of takers for him, let's be honest, for someone of his quality, of Champions League stature.
I mean, it just depends on what we do in the summer. I think he might be okay with that. I think he might stay depending on what we do. He needs to be able to see progress, because there's been so many games where he does his absolute best and we don't win, and he's been really good. And you can see he's frustrated because he wants to win every single game because he's an absolute winner. If we just pick out our best players, like you've got Bruno, Toon Army, Isak, Botman are probably the main standout purchases of the project, plus like Trippier, but he's aging, so I won't put him in that list for now. And maybe Gordon, I guess, as well. Mm-hmm. If the main spine of the team that are just really, really good, if we go and purchase 3 more of them in the summer, and we don't have an injury-ravaged season, I don't see any reason why we can't be competing with everyone in the league bar maybe that top 2 to 3. Even then, you never know. It completely depends on if we keep everybody fit and if we can just maintain results. And maybe I think we've built on a lot of mistakes from this season. Like we bottled it against Liverpool early doors in the season. I think results like that we can avoid in the future because we will have learnt from it. The lads will be able to hold their nerve a bit more. So if we can, increase the spine of the team, bring in another few of this quality, but it just depends on how far does the money stretch.
Yep.
And a few other bits. We can't be losing Joe Linton and Bruno in one window. That would be a travesty. If Joe Linton goes and Bruno's release clause gets triggered, and all of a sudden they're out of the squad, and then that's concerning. I know we'd spend the money, but they're not easily replaceable players.
And what could be realistic? Joe Linton, what would he? I mean, it's a year out of contract. I think we still get £50 million for him.
I think it's a bit steep, but I think we could ask for 30 or 40. Yeah.
Well, we signed him for 40. Remember?
Yeah, but he's a lot better now than he was when we signed him.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm saying 50 with a year's contract of his contract to go. I think we can get that for him. He's a different player now, of course. But let's do a few comments.
Maybe.
What sort of people are saying. The Wood Munition says, if we get Europe, Daniel Mallon as a forward, Lorenzo Parola centre back, and maybe Stiller from Stuttgart as number 6 if Stuttgart don't get Champions League. Interesting. But we definitely need a centre back. There's no doubt about it. Looking at how bare we are at centre back, especially right sided. Blintmap says he's an amazing player, but on consistency, I'd say Botman's our best player. Interesting. We had said Eddie is currently building a stability, consistency in a culture we can be proud of for generations of Toon fans. Yeah, and injuries have kind of stifled that, though, haven't they? To be honest, it's not his fault we're getting so many injuries, although maybe it is the lack of rotation earlier in the season. Maybe that's contributed to the lengthy injury list, although a lot of them have been freak ones, haven't they? Andy82 says, for me, a pop number 6 is priority. After that, a young third striker to keep Wilson and Isak fresh, given we keep our big guns, of course.
Or we have somebody who can play as the right wing who can also play centre forward.
Yes.
I'd like to see somebody as good as Anthony Gordon on the right-hand side. I think that would be amazing.
Could Minteh potentially be that person?
Possibly. Still a bit young, though.
He is. Remember, release clause after we played 100% in front, they do. Nathan says, I suspect there will be a lot of heats around Longstaff. Could see him at Everton. If Everton stay up, of course. They may get relegated yet. So, will FFP be changed for the summer window? Yes, the meeting's happened today, hasn't it? So, I don't know what's going to come of it.
Yeah, I mean, so they did the meeting yesterday, didn't they?
Yesterday, not today, yeah.
To be honest, guys, I'm going to have to do some research because I'm not an accountant and I'm not a sporting accountant, and it was all quite complicated. So I'm just as confused as you guys are. So it was Premier League proposed measures to replace PSR discussed, £25 million working capital maintained for short-term demand, liquidity test for long-term debt, and requirement to demonstrate ability to deal with financial setbacks, i.e. sponsorship loss or performance income. So those are the main points that was posted by the Times. I mean, I think our owners are rich enough to deal with any financial setbacks. I think they could offset any issues. Club's not going to go under. The case would be if they decide to jump ship, that would be the problem. I don't think they would. They seem to very much like the club and are very invested in it in both senses of the word. So, yeah, we'll have to do some proper research on that and give you a show on it. But it's going to take me a little bit of time because it's quite complicated.
Julie J says, I think Bruno will stay. He does love to sit in the club. He does. But I guess that's not all it has to be about. It's his career, isn't it? They don't last long football careers. And it's about ambition as well, I guess. What about Minteh? Well, we think he'll come back in some kind of role, maybe it's a wild card sub, as I mentioned earlier. Why would a player like Bruno join a club, get a surprise Champions League qualification, then be off after only one Champions League campaign? Purely because it's for ambition. I mean, how old is Bruno now? He's 26?
I think he's 26 now.
It's a short career, and I'm guessing the fact we qualified Champions League first season will it would have raised his expectations a little bit.
He's on 4 assists for the year. That's not bad, is he? As a defensive midfielder who gets told not to venture forward too much, well, kind of. That's not bad. Oh, and it's very pretty. considering most of his consistent midfield partners have all been out and rotating and injured. He is not doing bad at all. Oh, and that is somebody I would like. Maxence Cacaré for Lyon. We'll see if Lyon get relegated. There will be a fire sale. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. He'd probably know him as well, would he? Was he there when he was there?
Yes, he was. He would definitely know him.
Joe Linton says we need to aim for Europa as that pays more than the conference.
It's not about that. It's about the extra fixtures and the whole squad having the experience of, right, midweek, we've got to go abroad. We've got to play this team. We've got to come back. We've got to win a Premier League match of the weekend. That is it.
Mm-hmm.
The money doesn't matter. It's negligible anyway. It's not that much. It's purely about getting that squad used to, this is how many games we are going to be playing every season. Deal with it. Like, that's what we need to do. And we need the coaching staff and Eddie Howe to get used to understanding how to rotate that team as well, because they're learning. It's a really important thing.
So the George says, I think Bruno will stay another year regardless, but we need to show him we mean business with our signings. Yeah, we've got to show a bit of ambition, haven't we? Despite the restrictions placed on us by the daft financial laws that are in place. Can Minteh cover the right side next season? It can certainly be a wild card. I mean, I think Miggy and Murphy, unless we sell, we could sell Miggy, I guess. They're open to selling him in January. Could he be offered in
I wouldn't be surprised if one of these two goes in in the summer.
Yeah.
I think we'll keep Murphy because he's really good for the dressing room. He's really good for PR. He's pretty tidy when he plays. He's really useful. He'll play wherever you tell him to. He'll happily be on the bench. He's just a really useful player at the moment. So I think the saleable asset is Miggy. Yeah, I could possibly see one of them going. If it's going to be any of them, it's going to be Miggy. Or we retain them for another year.
Yeah, I think Miggy out of the two will be gone. And there's rumours that he wanted to wait till the summer so he could get back to Atalanta, but we shall see what comes out in the wash there. But the conclusion is, the squad definitely has glaring holes, and it's where we get the money from to fill them. I mean, it's there in green, black and white, if you like. The right side of centre-half situation is critical, isn't it? We've got away with murder this year, really. Even, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's been very, very useful because obviously Fabian, not Fabian Shea, he is Fabian Shea. Jamal Lascelles did really well when he came in. And we were lucky that he did because it could have been really, really bad. We've got an issue with YouTube. I'm assuming everybody can still see us okay. Let us know if you can't.
Yeah, I mean, we've nearly come to the end anyway. But yeah, we've got a YouTube issue according to our dashboard here. But hopefully not. People are still commenting. And so I'm assuming that we're okay. Let's have a quick look, in fact. Actually, we won't. People will comment if we've gone down. We are visible, says Julie. Thank you. Excellent. Right, but we have come to the end anyway. So that's been an interesting delve into what we've got and what we haven't got, and what's going to be going and what's going to be staying. It's been a bit of a trial of attrition for Stato to get all these names and players written down and contract length. So thank you for that. Excellent piece of work. We'll be back tomorrow with a preview of the Nottingham Forest game, which comes up on Saturday, and face the lads Friday, and of course the live match day live on Saturday. But actually, we'll get rid of that. So we're back up on the screen. Oops. We both did it at the same time. So don't forget to hit that thumbs up on the way out, folks. It's really important to us. But we've come to the end. So I'll just wish you all a very good night. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. Chelsea Villa on telly. Villa Chelsea on telly soon. So if you want to watch that, or the AFCON, that's also on. But it's all tomorrow night. I wish you all a good night. And Stato, do my bit.
Away the lads and lasses.
We'll see you tomorrow, folks.
Come back and check out some green.